In this video, we'll continue with where we stopped off on cryptography, and we'll consider cryptographic algorithms, including symmetric key, asymmetric key, and then hash algorithms. We'll also see the examples and uses of these algorithms. Now let's talk about different cryptographic algorithms that we could have. There are three basic types that we could have, and the first one that we're going to be considering is the symmetric key cryptography. Now the name should have given you a clue because it says symmetric key. It just means that the same key is used for both encryption and decryption. So an example of this would be Alice. Let's take Alice and Bob. Alice wants to send a message to Bob, ABC, over to Bob. Now while this message is being sent, Alice has encrypted the message with a key 1, 2, 3. Now when Bob gets this message, he's going to use the same key 1, 2, 3 to decrypt this message to get ABC. So symmetric key cryptography just uses the same key for both encryption and decryption. Now as you can see here, both parties must know this key before communication can take place. That's why symmetric key is sometimes called pre-shared. So the key has to be pre-shared. Sometimes called pre-shared key or secret key cryptography. Symmetric key cryptography can be further broken down into two, namely stream cipher and block cipher. I'll clear up this screen right now and then we'll consider the two of them. So let's take the first one, stream cipher. Now what the stream cipher does is that it operates on a single bit or byte or computer word, depending on the implementation. So it performs its operation on a single bit or byte or computer word at a particular time and implements some form of feedback mechanism so that the key is constantly changing. Let's take an example like AA. So A in ASCII is actually 65, which is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's how many zeros? 1. Is this correct? This would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. So this is correct. Yeah, so A is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. So A would be 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Let's just assume this is how it breaks it down. It may not necessarily be that way, but let's assume that AA is this. So what stream cipher is going to do, so you have your operation here. This would be the cipher, and then you have some form of key. So your key would also be a string of binary, so it could be something like this. Now it's going to take that operation one bit at a time. So you have your 1 to produce an output. So this is your cipher here. So your key will still be fed into it, and then your second bit of 0 here. So you see that the output of this will be fed into this. So let's say the output of this is 0, and then like that. So this could be C2. The next input is 0. Your key will still be fed into it, and then this output will also be fed. So stream cipher implements some form of feedback so that your key is constantly changing. Now it doesn't have to be like this. It could be that the feedback is going into the key, but you get the general idea. Now the second one that we have is the block cipher. So how the block cipher works is that it takes one block of data per time. So it operates on one block of data at a time instead of bits. So it operates on blocks instead of streams like bits, and then it uses the same key on each block. So it means that the same plain text block would always encrypt to the same cipher text. So if you have a block of something like 10001, 1001, 1000, this is your plain text. Once the block cipher is done with it, your cipher text, so you have 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0101. Let's assume this is the cipher text and this is the plain text after the encryption has worked on it. Now the thing is, this plain text with the same key would always produce the same cipher text, and that is how the block cipher works. However, when you're using the stream cipher, the same plain text would encrypt to different cipher text because of that feedback mechanism. Now let's talk about the uses and types of symmetric key encryption. The main use of symmetric key cryptography is encryption, because as we will see, is much more faster than asymmetric key cryptography. It's pre-shared keys, so there's usually a problem of sharing keys securely. So it's like the chicken and the egg problem. You want to communicate securely and you have to use pre-shared keys. How do you get those keys across to the parties securely? So that's usually the problem of symmetric key cryptography. Now there are several examples of the symmetric key cryptography algorithms, including DES. DES stands for Data Encryption Standard, and it's a 64-bit block cipher that uses a key length of 56 bits. So although it performs its operation on 64 bits of block data, its key length is actually 56 bits. Now another one that we could have is triple DES. As the name says, it's just 3 times DES. It still uses the 64-bit blocks, but its key length is 3 times of DES, so that's 3 times 56, which is equal to 168. So it uses 168-bit key. The reason we have 3 DES actually is because DES is not secure anymore. It has actually been broken, and that's why you have a longer key length. But as we'll see, there's even a more secure one, which is the next one we're going to consider, AES. So like I mentioned, another one that we can have is AES, which is Advanced Encryption Standard. It's also a block cipher, but it can use different blocks, so different block lengths and different key lengths. You could have 128, 192, 256. So you could operate on block of 128 bits, 192 and 256, and also the key length. So AES is varying, and this right now is very, very secure. So if you were to rank it, you rank AES more secure than 3 DES, more secure than DES. If you can afford it, just use AES at all times. Some other symmetric key algorithms that we could have is IRC4. Now this one is stream, and you could also have IDEA, which is a block cipher. Now we'll move on to asymmetric key cryptography. So the second cryptographic algorithm that we're going to talk about is asymmetric key cryptography. As the name suggests, it means that you use different keys for encryption and decryption. Usually you have a key pair, and one will be private and the other one will be public. So what the private key encrypts, the public will be able to decrypt, and what the public key encrypts, the private key will be able to decrypt. So these two keys are only similar to themselves. So you can't have another public key that will be similar to this private key. So it's just this pair that would work on each other. So as the name suggests, the private key is never shared. It's always kept secret, but the public key can be shared or distributed. Now the main uses of asymmetric key cryptography are in digital certification and key management. Key management. Theoretically, it can also be used for encryption, but it's going to be very, very slow. So what we usually do, you use asymmetric key for your key management, and then you use symmetric key for your encryption. Now let's look at some services that the asymmetric key cryptography provides. The first one that we're going to look at is the secure communication exchange. So like I said, we're going to use two keys. One is private and one is public. So this is Alice and this is Bob. Now for secure communication exchange, which is like providing confidentiality, now if Alice has a message to send to Bob, ABC, for secure communication exchange, that's for confidentiality, Alice would encrypt this message with Bob's public key. Now she has Bob's public key. Anybody can get your public key, especially through like a key management system. The public key is public. So she's going to encrypt this message with Bob's public key and send it to Bob. Now, even if Eve intercepts this message, because it has been encrypted with Bob's public key, only Bob's private key, which is with Bob, only his private key can decrypt a message that has been encrypted with his public key. So in this way, you have secure communication exchange. So even if Eve should intercept this message, she would not be able to decrypt it because she doesn't have Bob's private key. So in summary, we can say that the sender encrypts the message with the receiver's public key, and the receiver decrypts the message with the receiver's private key. Now the second one that we're going to look at is user authentication. Authentication. So this is Bob here and this is Alice. Bob wants to prove that he's himself. So he's going to send a message. So let's say this message ABC, and he will encrypt that message with his private key, and send it to Alice. When Alice gets the message, she will decrypt the message with Bob's public key. This way you know that the message came from Bob, because only Bob's public key can decrypt a message that was sent by Bob's private key. So when you are doing authentication, and this kind of provides non-repudiation. So when you are doing authentication, the sender would encrypt the message with his or her own private key, and the receiver would decrypt the message with the sender's public key. Now some examples of asymmetric key algorithms that we could have include RSA. Now RSA just stands for reversed. Those are the people that created it. Shermer and Aduman. So RSA is used for key exchange, digital certificates, and message encryption. Another example that we have is Diffie-Hellman. Now Diffie-Hellman is used for key exchange. So two peers that do not have like prior knowledge of themselves can establish a shared secret key over an insecure channel. Now another one that is similar to Diffie-Hellman is Elgamal, but this has more uses than Diffie-Hellman. It's also using digital certificates. We could also have digital signature algorithm, that's DSA, and some other ones include elliptical curve and also the public key cryptography standards. The third and final cryptographic algorithms that we're going to consider are the hash algorithms. Now these algorithms are one way and they provide fixed length hash value. So what does one way mean? One way just means that the input cannot be recovered from the output. So if you have an input and you have an output, this input can never be gotten from this output. That being the case, hash algorithms are not for authentication. So what they provide is actually integrity. So the way hash value works is basically you have a message A, B, C, and you compute a hash for it. Say the hash you compute is X, Y, Z. This Alice sends that message to Bob. Now Bob will strip that part X, Y, Z out, compute using the same algorithm, using the same hash algorithm, is going to compute the hash of the message ABC. Now if he gets XYZ, so he's going to compare the one he locally generated with the one he received. If they match, then it means that integrity has been preserved. That means the message was not altered. But if after Bob compiles it, he gets something like XXX, so he knows that this doesn't match with this. So Bob knows that that message has been altered while it was being sent. Now there are several examples of hash algorithms, and you are probably familiar with some of them. Message digest. So the output value or the hash value of this one is always 128 bit, and you could have MD2, MD5, probably familiar with MD5. Now another one that we could have is the secure hash algorithm. Depending on what version of SHA you're talking about, SHA-1 for example is 160 bits, and then SHA-2, there are several ones under SHA-2. You have 224, you have 256, you have 384, you have 512. So all these are the hash values, like the length of the hash values that you can produce. Normally, hash algorithms do not use keys, but when a secret key is also used with the algorithm, then the result is HMAC. HMAC basically stands for Keyed Hash Message Authentication Code. So it not only provides integrity, it's also able to provide message authentication. This brings us to the end of this video, where we have looked at different cryptographic algorithms, including symmetric key cryptography, and we saw different examples like DES, AES. We also looked at asymmetric key cryptography, and we saw examples like Diffie-Hellman, RSA, and we looked at hash algorithms, and we also saw examples like MD5 and the SHA algorithms. We also looked at the different uses of these algorithms. I hope you have found this video informative, and I'd like to thank you for watching.